Well, thank you for staying with us. It's Daybreak. Now, let's see what's on the front pages this morning from around the world, starting with this day. It is reporting that the chairman of the National Peace Commission in Nigeria, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, is urging parties as well as candidates to accept outcome of the Anambra poll once credible and free. Let's look at some of the riders to that headline. It says INEC has guaranteed transparent election. 18 governorship hopeful sign peace accord. Only set for tomorrow. It's actually tomorrow. Declares electoral body. IPOB, on the other hand, suspends stay-at-home order. And PDP, the major opposition party in the country, reiterates call for Kano's release. Chidoka, Barabe, Amadi, others call for peaceful exercise as the Nigerian Broadcast Commission warns against inciting broadcast. Above the masthead for this day this morning, Ikoyi building collapse. Sanwo-Olu declares 3 days of mourning in Lagos. Flags to fly at half-mast. Inaugurates tribunal. Death toll rises to 38. Developer's body found. Imagines the team ramp up recovery operation. This and many more. You can pick up a copy of This Day, the newspaper of records.
Staying in Nigeria and The Nation this morning, body of collapsed Lagos building owner retrieved is the main headline. It says that the death toll has risen and families register 19 missing persons. Also on the front page, MTN Nigeria completes issuance of 89.9 billion naira bonds. That's 575 million shares for sale. And also, once again, the story in the Anambra poll with the peace pledge from the candidates.
And the Guardian newspaper leading with the Anambra election. IPOB cancels a seat at home and asks Anambra people to vote tomorrow. Security concerns heighten as gunmen kill 6 policemen 48 hours to the election. Southeast governors also saying criminals using IPOB's name to kill innocent citizens. More headlines, governorship candidates sign peace agreement, and that's the leading photo in the Guardian newspaper with the National Peace Committee and candidates of the governorship election. More headlines in the Guardian newspaper. Pakistani government petitioned over activities of embassy in Nigeria. Also, 3,795 teachers killed, 1,500 schools torched in the Bay State, says the NEDC, and that's on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper.
Well, the Punch is leading with the Ikoyi building, and it says developer friends corpses recovered. Death toll hits 40. We haven't varying figures as regards the casualty from that collapse. But it's also reporting, the Punch is also reporting that families are lamenting delay in identifying corpses, conflicting casualty figures, as I just said, and the Governor Sanwo-Olu declaring 3-day mourning and cancels official engagements.
Let's go internationally now, and the UK's The Eye newspaper. Headline, Day of Chaos in Downing Street. The Prime Minister attempts to overthrow UK sleeves watchdog and save Conservative MP collapses as Number 10 makes humiliating U-turn within 19 hours. Conservative MPs tell the Prime Minister that he is in real danger of loss of credibility on backbenches, and Johnson and Whips are taken aback by the angry reaction from party, public and media. Also on the front page, news of the new COVID pill, the UK being the first country in the world to approve what they say is groundbreaking treatment.
And a sad front page at the Daily Mirror this morning. Monster of the morgue. How many more victims? Murderer David Fuller sexually assaulted at least 100 dead women and girls in hospital mortuaries. Now this has sparked an NHS probe.
Well, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello for the press review this morning. Emmanuel, great to see you again. Good morning. As always, we'll begin with our sister publication This Day, and it's leading with the peace accord signed by candidates yesterday ahead of the Anambra polls. We're barely counting hours now to the polls opening tomorrow. And of course, the leader of that peace committee in Nigeria, the National Peace Committee, former head of state, General Abdulsalami, is saying that parties and candidates must accept the outcome, but there is a caveat there in that headline. We can pull up This Day front page. It says, once poll is credible and free. Emmanuel, what are we looking forward to tomorrow? Campaigns have ended.
Yeah, and now on the eve of the elections, some good news coming out of Anambra State. The IPOB, for instance, cut off in a I don't know, unprecedented move, almost unexpected. IPOB calling off the seat at home. Remember that IPOB had actually said it was the biggest threat to these elections, and because of that, you had also all those deployments of policemen and even choppers and all of that, and we've been worried. And early in the month, we predicted that it's going to be a showdown between IPOB on one hand and the federal government, but it just suddenly called off the seat at home, almost giving the election a chance to hold its biggest break so far. But the Abdulsalami panel also weighing in strongly on the election, have been able to get the parties to sign some form of peace accord that as soon as the elections are credible, they should accept the results. So we are going into this election. I think INEC is happy as we go into this election. A lot of watchers are really happy as we go into this election that they will be largely free and fair. Residents still expressing fears about their safety, though, in some of the reports. But by and large, you have IPOB becoming even the biggest cheerleader as we speak right now of the elections, which is unprecedented and very significant. And the Abdulsalami Pact or Forum bringing the candidates together so that there will be some form of peace after the elections to prevent any post-election violence.
Emmanuel, let's stay with this day for now, and the news obviously of the Akoi building collapse. Now, we do know that there's now 3 days of mourning in Lagos, and a lot of emphasis now is on this team that they're putting together to investigate. How likely is it that we're going to get results, considering yesterday the owner of the building was found of one of the fatalities?
I think unlike other previous collapse where you have, you just have some reporting and some actions, this seems to be very different in the sense that the governor himself has taken, unprecedented moves to do a whole lot of things, cancelling trips, he's on the site, he's taking, strong leadership and looking into this already. An official has been sacked in this crisis. So it looks as if this is different and that we're going to have some form of closure and that we're going to have some people brought to book and of course the investigation is going to be deep. Already, sadly, the owner of the developer body was found yesterday. 3 this morning, like you just said, a lot of things. I think this for once, and then of course the media stay on this story in a way that it's never done before to any form of a collapse. And I think this will bring everything to the fore and make this a very serious push to stop further collapse and further recurrence of this kind of story. I think the effort has been largely very massive, both from the media putting its eye on this story, the Lagos State governors coming out strongly on leadership and doing the right things all through. I think this is a different day and we're going to have some form of breakthroughs in dealing with matters like this.
Definitely, and the families need that closure, and Arise News has always been on ground and will definitely be bringing more updates on that developing story. Now let's move on to the Guardian newspaper and some more bad news. The Northeast Development Commission is saying that in the past 12 years, that Nigeria has seen insurgency. Over 3,000 teachers have been killed and 1,500 schools have been torched. And this definitely has been making the increase in out-of-school children definitely more in those states, in the Bay States. This is not only affecting students, it's also affecting teachers. Emmanuel.
Yes, it's a very sad story, and I think we've dealt with reports around the issue of out-of-school children in the past in looking at the crisis of insecurity, because especially in the Northeast, sadly, where I'm from, and yes, those crises are there, and you have the statistics and the data reeled out by the Northeast Commission, looking at the number of teachers and students affected. It's a great story. It's a story that should capture the attention of all sorts of people involved in this. It's so sad that people can't go to school, teachers out of work, and it's all tied with the crisis of insecurity. That is going to the very heart of the matter, and I think this is the import of the story, and that's why it's made the front page of The Guardian.
Yeah, and let's look at the Punch now. Several headlines there, leading also from the Ikoyi building. But the Punch aspect, it's reporting this morning, families lamenting delay in identifying the corpses. That's something that definitely came up yesterday when the governor visited the site, and he was asked the question by one of the fathers on site there, saying they've not been able to identify their loved ones. Should we say this process has been slow, Emmanuel? What do you think?
I think we should worry about that, but we should also look at the human angle stories there. We are looking at statistics, at numbers, but there are families that are grieving. There are families that are in pains, and maybe as we head into the weekend, we're going to have to, focus on focus on the families and their griefs and the pains they are going through. Yes, they want some form of closure. People want to identify their family members, and then of course there's been some discrepancies also about the numbers. But the death toll is rising, and beyond the statistics that we like to reel out in the news, there are real families, real people grieving, and maybe we should actually focus on those families too and look at how they are going through. I think this is an attempt to do that, to focus on individual families and the pains they are going through, and the issue of identifying even their loved ones. I think these are the sort of stories around the human angle stories surrounding this really horrible horror kind of situation for many of the families, not even able to identify their body. I think the authorities will have to go beyond the other issues and begin to look at individual stories and how to deal with families and their crisis.
Now, before you go, Emmanuel, we'll quickly look internationally with the newspaper. Day of chaos at Downing Street. Some people would say that's every day. But the fact is, Prime Minister Boris Johnson once again going through a bit of turmoil with his reputation through a U-turn, with his backbenchers saying that there's real loss of credibility. We've heard this before. I mean, in your opinion, do you think the Prime Minister will sort of fight back and bounce back to winning in the polls once more?
Well, he's always done. I mean, he's always tried to push back, maybe because of his rock star quality and all of that. But this is getting too close home, with even his base now joining in the criticism. In the past, you see the opposition leaders saying things about Boris Johnson, but now you even have people in his party actually questioning his integrity, questioning his performance or his integrity profile. I think that's troubling. And as he heads into his own elections, he needs to not just grapple with the opposition, but even people of his own party, especially with this silly story that keeps making, that refused to go away. The man he was trying to protect also resigned, and so that actually became very chaotic for him, and brought up all sorts of issues. We'll watch with keen interest how Boris, as usual, fights gist, whether he's going to bamboozle his way through, whether he's going to talk his way out of this, or whether he's going to use his usual style to maneuver his way out of this, or a bigger crisis will come up. But elections are around the corner, and I think Boris Johnson is not only trying hard to save Christmas, but also save his career.
Well said, Emmanuel Bello. Thank you so much for that press review.